Hello, my name is Christian Trucker. This is my story. This week is going to be called To Kill a Yellowbird. Stay tuned, enjoy the show. Howdy out there in YouTube land. How y'all doing today? This here is Christian Trucker, and this is my story. We're gonna jump back into the era just pre-junior high real quick. This video is gonna be titled To Kill a Yellowbird. But you see, I'm not really sure exactly how old I was, but as y'all know, I had an older brother. He was 5 years older than me, and he had BB guns, and we had laser tag and slingshots and all kinds of cool stuff like that, but I never had my own BB gun. So I pressured my mom and my dad, and I asked them. Finally they got me one. And my dad had started working at the building supply with my grandpa, and my mom, she was working too. I'm not real sure. I want to say at the nursing home. She worked at the nursing home for quite a few years. Anyway, I had been left alone with my grandma and my aunt, who's a little touched. Anyway, I got my BB gun and I was able to go outside and play. Well, I got out there and I was shooting Coke cans and everything else. I was having a good old time. Well, I noticed these little birds was coming down and playing around and stuff, just being birds. For some reason, I turned around, I aimed, and I killed this beautiful, fat little yellowbird. And when I done it immediately, I was just stunned. And I really didn't know what to do, because at this point I had never been hunting or anything like that. So it was my first kill. Yeah, it was a little yellowbird, but it was a kill. He had a little spirit. I walked over there and he wasn't moving. He was limp. And it upset me. I didn't really know what to do. So I went inside and I got a cigar box. I took that cigar box and I took that yellowbird and I put him in that cigar box and I buried that little bird. And I went in and I put up my gun. I didn't touch it. I was upset with that gun because it had killed that bird. It wasn't the gun that killed the bird. It was me that killed the bird because I pulled the trigger. Anyway, I dealt with it all night in my head, just trying to make sense out of it. I didn't even tell anybody. I don't know if I've ever told anybody this story. So I dealt with it in my head, trying to make sense of it. Up until this point, I really had no sense of life and death, I don't think. I was just basically playing through life. I didn't really have a care in the world. But the finality of that little bird's little limp body weighed heavily on my mind through the night. So finally the next morning, I had school. So I think it was a Monday or something. Anyway, I had to go to school. When we got out of school, immediately I came home, and I don't know why. I don't know what I was expecting, but I came home and I dug that little shoebox up. It could have been just curiosity about death in itself. I dug that little shoebox up, and there were ants on the bird. And the bird didn't look anything like it did 24 hours previous. I was just like I said, the finality and everything about it stunned me as a child. I was like, it brought my mortality into my psyche, thinking that one day that could be my body, because I related it visually, and I just, for some reason, it was like that could be me in that box, where I just could not make sense of it. So anyway, I put the bird back in the box and I buried the bird, and over the next weeks and months, I had internal battles with myself about life and death. And we had been going to church a pretty good bit. You know, this was a time in my life when my mom and my dad actually went to church faithfully until the church upset them to a point to where they left the church. See, my folks were really fired up for God, and they wanted to do a children's church. And this little church where we went was full of old gray-headed people. And these old gray-headed people decided they didn't want to do no kind of children's church because it would disrupt the adults, and it would basically mess up their whole routine. And these folks, I would have to say over half of them just went for show and as a community gathering. I don't think there was actually that many true believers. Now, there were a few that were really true believers, sweet spirits that I miss till today. But yeah, they basically run my parents out of that church because my folks were so upset that they never went to another church again steadily. They may have visited some here and there, but they never went back faithfully. But I had went to church enough to know what God had said about life and death, and the promises He made. You know, it bumfuzzled me, the promise that God made in the rainbow. But you can still see a rainbow when you turn on a water faucet. It bumfuzzled my mind, and I guess I grew up questioning my faith, questioning the Lord, and I had, you know, I was always a fairly deep thinker as far as life and death and philosophies and such. I mean, I never could have went to school for it because I was not interested in it, and if I'm not totally interested in it, I'm not gonna succeed at it at all. But the other thing that was bothering me over the next few months was that song. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That song played in my head for years, just trying to make sense out of it. Is life just a dream? Does it matter that we're here? Is God real? Is my faith real? Do I really believe in everything that I've been taught? And you know, it was hard dealing with some of those questions and answers and everything going on in my young mind for so long. And the answer is, I truly believe my faith. There it is in a nutshell. But it took me years to get comfortable in my faith, because I had so many questions, and I was really bothered by the whole idea that God would create us and then allow death and sickness and all such manner of bad stuff to go on. But I have slowly realized through some of the tragedies of my life that God does not intend for us to have the tragedies, but the tragedies and the bad times do make the good times so much sweeter. And 100% of the time, all things work to the glory of God. And I have met people that have lost children, and they fall back on their faith, and it gives them hope that they will see their children in heaven one day. They will be reunited with a lost child or a lost family member. That gives us hope, and that hope gives us strength to carry on in our day-to-day life. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize throughout the world. Hope, the hope of our faith is such a strength for us to deal with this life, because this life is full of heartaches and hard times. Even the rich, the super rich, have heartaches and hard times. You hear about them committing suicide all the time, and we poor folk often wonder, if you have everything, why would you commit suicide? And suicide, you know, it is what it is. We've experienced a couple in our family, and I'll tell you this much: it's some of the hardest days of our lives that we've had to deal with. The sadness is overwhelming. This video has took kind of a dark path, but I want you to hang on to the light of the subject, the hope of the faith, you know, the truth of the faith. You can look at the things that are going on now, the prophecies that are being fulfilled, and know that our faith is true just by what is going on. Then you look at the historical evidence, and it backs it up firmly. The more they try to disprove God, the more they prove Him to be real. But yep, that is the limits of our video today. To kill a yellowbird. I've never since then killed for sport. I don't even fish for sport. If I'm fishing for sport, I throw them back. I don't keep them and let them waste. If you fish and you keep them, you eat them. You don't waste animals. You don't. We are supposed to be caretakers of this planet. We are supposed to conserve our environment the best that we can. I know it's not always easy, and we fail miserably on some aspects, like with nuclear power. That's the most destructive force that we have created. I mean, just look at what's going on in Japan since they had that nuclear disaster. Plus, we dropped a couple of nuclear bombs on them. So 1,000 wonders, them people can live over there at all. But God bless. We'll see you in the next video.